does that tell you? It tells you that, oh, obviously Daniel Bryan was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble, but apparently that didn't happen. So who wins it? Batista. And nobody gives a flying fuck about Batista winning the Royal Rumble. But there's a little bit of added bonus, and I'll add on Batista in just a moment. Randy Orton goes into the Elimination Chamber, which took place just a couple of nights ago. Goes in, he gets his ass kicked by Daniel Bryan. Kane comes out of nowhere like all of us expected. He won. I even knew he won, but I wish, for God's sake, Daniel Bryan just to win. That's all I want. Daniel Bryan goes ahead and wins. Well, Randy Orton goes ahead and wins, and Daniel Bryan gets screwed. Then the following night, Daniel Bryan wants an opportunity at Triple H for WrestleMania. Now let me give you my one thought. Daniel Bryan against Triple H at WrestleMania, it's good on paper. But a lot of people really don't want to see Triple H versus Daniel Bryan because, number one, Daniel Bryan deserves to be in the WWE Championship match. You know the WrestleMania setup now. Randy Orton defends the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Batista. Can you say worst WrestleMania match in the history of WrestleMania? Yes, you can. You can put it down, you can write it on a piece of paper, you can shit that in a fucking toilet and say, holy fucking shit, look at all that shit flying in the fucking wall. It's just like this. It is the worst WrestleMania. But I'm getting all these crazy different vibes from other people telling me, oh, don't worry, Furman, it's going to get a whole lot better during the whole duration of WrestleMania, which I believe that. Because, yes, this is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania, and it's only going to start until April 6th. That's when WrestleMania takes place. But, you know, how better is it going to get exactly? Is Daniel Bryan going to get what he wants, or is he going to be in the WWE Championship match? The whole yes movement is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time. Everyone's paying attention except the people in the front office. But we'll see how smart enough it goes. Because here's the thing. There are people that think, oh, they're going to change it up, no problem. And then there are other people, and I read this through a website. I don't feel like mentioning the website because I know who it is, and I know who they are, and I talk shit about this one person who hasn't accepted my challenge yet, but that's okay. Reading through this thing, something about why Daniel Bryan failed and the reasons why, all this stuff about how Daniel Bryan doesn't have the right look to be the superstar that the WWE wants. Wow. How many times have we heard that shit before? You know, it's like there are so many people now that know what they want, and so many people now that are confused about how all this turns out. But here's my theory. Here's my thought on it. Personally, Daniel Bryan against Triple H at WrestleMania seems like a good idea. But I would rather see Daniel Bryan in a championship matchup against Randy Orton and Batista. That is your WrestleMania main event match right there. And let's all just see where this whole thing with Daniel Bryan goes. I like Daniel Bryan as much as anybody, and I hope we see Daniel Bryan in some championship capacity, whether it's against Triple H or whether it's against Batista and Randy Orton, championship triple threat. See what happens. And speaking of WrestleMania, it wouldn't be right if we didn't mention Hulk Hogan being the host of WrestleMania 30. The Hulkster is back, baby. Hulk Hogan returns doing the smart thing by not being a part of TNA anymore, which was Dixie Carter's fault. She dropped the ball, and she's crying about it. Yes, she is. And Hulk Hogan hosting WrestleMania, who knows? He could change everything around if it's done his way, brother. And also, besides that, everybody, if you guys saw it, Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Oh my God, of all the epic matches that I've ever wanted to see at WrestleMania, Triple H versus The Undertaker was awesome. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker was awesome. CM Punk versus The Undertaker was awesome. But Brock Lesnar against The Undertaker. Keep in mind, Brock Lesnar has a victory over The Undertaker. The Undertaker has never beaten Brock Lesnar. And there has been many confrontations between these guys. So Brock Lesnar against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Will we see Brock Lesnar be the man to tear down The Undertaker? Or will Brock Lesnar become victim number 22 at WrestleMania? Hopefully, we'll see what happens from here on out. Now, let me also discuss another thing. Next week on Monday Night Raw, they're going to be in Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, Illinois. Let me see. It's home of the Chicago Bears. It's home of the Chicago Bulls. And it's also the home of this guy who's the best in the world. This guy who held on to the WWE Championship for well over 433, 35, 200 million days. The pipe bomb man himself, CM Punk. Let me talk about him for a moment. Last time Punk was around was at the Royal Rumble. That was the last time anyone saw him. And then Punk puts out a tweet saying thank you, supporting, and all that other stuff. And that was the last time we've heard of Punk at all. Now, where's Punk been since then? There's all these people on Facebook, there's all these people on Twitter that want to get the information, that want to know where CM Punk is, right? They want to know exactly where the fuck he's at, right? But no matter how much information they get, it's nothing. It means absolutely nothing. First, a release from the WWE saying they're going to release CM Punk on Friday, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, no, we're not going to release him, he's still under contract. So what does that tell you? Personally, to me, I'm not going to rely on anyone else's Facebook instincts. I'm not going to rely on anyone else's stupidity on Twitter. I'm just going to rely on my instincts in here and in here. And what I see is this. CM Punk is still under contract with the WWE. CM Punk is still the best in the world. And I agree with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Punk is going to return very soon. Punk is going to show up at WrestleMania. Punk is going to show up in some capacity. What capacity exactly? I'm not sure what capacity, but I'll tell you this right now. Regardless of what anyone thinks, you can believe in all the skeptics, you can believe in all the bullshit, you can believe in all the crap they tell you on the internet. But it's in here and in here that what you know about. And I believe that CM Punk will be at WrestleMania. Whether it's against Triple H, whether it's in a championship match, whether he messes up the show in some way, all I can tell you is this: Punk will be at WrestleMania. But also in my opinion, CM Punk, he may show up on Raw. Who knows? I'm not going to say he is, but Vince McMahon is going to try everything in his power to get to him. But we'll see what happens. Punk, Monday Night Raw, Chicago. See what happens from there. Now, we've talked about the Elimination Chamber. We've talked about the Royal Rumble. We've talked about all that. Let's talk about, well, let's change gears off of WWE for a moment and talk about TNA for just a moment. As you guys know, March 8th is coming up. Lockdown. Or March 9th, actually. Lockdown. MVP has a team set up to take on Dixie Carter's team, and as you know, whoever wins takes complete control of TNA. And in my opinion, I think MVP's got a shot, especially with the Wolves, the American Wolves, winning the tag team championship. And congratulations go out to them. They won it over, I believe, in New England, or England actually, my apologies. And to me, it's a big thirst of knowledge, a big thirst of change. The fact that the Wolves have beaten the Bromance, thank God. And the fact that, well, I have seen different changes in TNA, including Jeff Hardy changing himself from the charismatic Enigma to, I believe, his old character Willow. I think everybody remembers that character a long time ago. Bringing that into the Plague. And all I know is I can't wait to see what Jeff Hardy has in store for Lockdown this coming, I believe it's March 8th, March 9th, I could be wrong, TNA Lockdown. It's going to be tremendous. I can't wait to check that out. Now, let me also go back to the WWE and bring up one match in particular that I want to talk about the most. The Wyatt family and the Shield. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns to take on Luke Harper, Rollin, and Bray Wyatt. Now, let me tell you something. I saw that Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I saw that tag team match, and holy fucking shit. That was a fight. That's all I can tell you. It was a goddamn fight. And we all knew that Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family were going to win. They pulled it off. And it was, how is it that the crowd had changed completely when they did what they did at that pay-per-view, and then Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt go at it, and the crowd kind of changed on everybody for some odd reason. I don't know, but one thing's for certain. Well, everybody saw about what happened with John Cena, and the Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family has something to do with it. John Cena's leg is injured, and apparently, well, looks like John Cena may be out. He may be out, but I'm not sure the whole scenario of it. But a lot of people feel that maybe it's good that John Cena doesn't show up at WrestleMania. And in my opinion, I think it is good, because remember, a long time ago, Cena had an arm injury, and we thought he was going to be gone for 6 months. He came back in 2 months, which was a little bit ridiculous, you know? But I can understand his feeling. I can understand why he doesn't want to be forgotten. That's the only reason why he came back. He doesn't want to be forgotten. But in the process, you have to understand something. Nobody's going to forget John Cena. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, everybody knows who John Cena is. But now with this leg injury, Cena out of the game, Cena out of WrestleMania, that's still a big question mark at this point, at this time. And if that does happen, if he is truly out and not going to be at WrestleMania, some people have already said, how about we have the rematch? The Shield and the Wyatt family. And you know what? I say this. At WrestleMania, if you do put the Shield and the Wyatt family together, do it at Hell in a Cell. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying that's just what I think should happen at WrestleMania. So, well, I guess I must have covered everything at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of the Main Event Talk. And I know I got a lot more to cover, and I will. And I know that most of you guys had an opportunity to see some of my main event thoughts that came out a couple of weeks ago. I got a few more coming up, showing up on YouTube, so I can't wait for that. So be prepared, be ready for that, and so forth. So, like I said, with that being said, that's going to do it for this edition of the Main Event Talk. Don't forget to check me out on all of my YouTube videos on Main Event videos on YouTube. Check that out. Also, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Let's see, I think that's everything that I covered right there. And also, don't forget, I think it's March 8th, I think it's March 9th, TNA Lockdown is coming. And don't forget to check out the WWE Network. Get it for $9.95. It's very, very unheard of, very, very crazy right there. Don't forget, April 6th, WrestleMania in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Superdome. I can't wait to check that out, at the Mercedes Superdome to be exact, if that's what it's called. I just hope we don't have a light out or a blockage of some kind like what happened at the Super Bowl last year. So, I hope that doesn't happen. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. And this is only the beginning. The road to WrestleMania continues from here. We'll see what happens during this entire iteration of the road to WrestleMania. I can't wait. Check out Raw this Monday. Check out SmackDown this coming Friday. Check out Impact Wrestling coming this Thursday. Oh, and also I got to bring up this one thing before I leave. NXT has a pay-per-view that's going to happen on the WWE Network called Arrival. So check that out. Can't wait to see it. So in the meantime, thank you for watching. Right here in Corpus Christi, this is all mine. All mine. Why? Because I can. And I want to. Any questions? Enough said. Follow the buzzards or believe in the shield.